Okay, we are back with our first guest. Welcome, Isabella Knack from Dahlman Fine Chocolates.
Thanks for having me.
The woman of the hour.
Yes.
The
yes.
woman of my whole week so far.
Yeah, and if the audience hears us chewing while this interview is going on, they're correct. We are.
Yeah, we don't mean to be rude, right,
Yeah.
Urban? We just can't help ourselves.
Yeah, no, we have to stay with the meltable chocolates, not the crunchy ones while we're on air, okay?
Exactly.
So, welcome. So, tell us a little bit about Dahlman Fine Chocolates.
Well, Dahlman Fine Chocolates has been around for about 7 years here in San Diego, but we only had a retail store for 2 years now. We opened our first retail boutique up in the Flower Hill Promenade in Del Mar about almost 3 years ago now, and we recently opened up our second location down at the new headquarters, the old police headquarters down in
Right.
Seaport Village 2 months ago.
Okay, wow. So, I'm going to have to go in there. You're over there. You're in the Flower Hill Promenade over by the new World Market and all that?
But where Whole Foods just recently opened up, we are right next to Panikin, second floor.
Okay,
Mhm.
perfect.
Oh, so you can go get your coffee,
Yeah.
then you can go eat some yummy Dallmans.
Uh-huh.
What a perfect, and then go shop.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you get your cheese, you get your wine. Very cute stores
Oh.
up there.
There you go. And you
we're-
got to walk around. I mean, how do you stay thin?
I grew up with it, so I stay away from it, to be honest. Chocolate, I do eat it and I do taste it, but it's not so much of an indulgence for me anymore. I stay away from it quite a bit.
So how did you? Your family has been in chocolate since long
1954.
time ago.
Yeah.
So, but you weren't in chocolate when you got here. How did you get started here? Tell us your story.
Well, I came to the U.S. 11 years ago. I got a degree in hotel and restaurant management, and the irony behind the whole story is that I ran away from my family business. I didn't want anything to do with it. And I came here to escape and to see the world. I come from a very small village and very sheltered and very narrow-minded, and I just wanted to get out and see the world. And I got an opportunity here in San Diego working in a hotel, and I worked there for 18 months, and I fell right back into the roots with just a phone call. If I would know what a specific chocolate was that we make in Austria, which is a Mozart chocolate. And funny enough, I absolutely knew what they were talking about, and this is how it all started. I flew back home,
So
learned
you
how to
had
make
the
it.
great hidden knowledge base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. The one thing I have to say, though, is I got this phone call. I had a little bit of interest in how to learn the chocolate, but I have to tell you, I flew back home because, like I said, I had never baked a cake in my life before. Needless to say, I made a chocolate before. So when I flew back home and I stepped foot into my father's kitchen and I touched chocolate for the first time and I started playing with it out of my own will and not because I was forced to work there, it was absolutely a different experience. I absolutely fell in love with chocolate, and I developed a passion immediately, and I never wanted to let it go.
Well, I think it clearly comes through in your product because it's just
absolutely.
absolutely extraordinary. It's truly special.
Yeah.
It's like an art. And
Yes.
so I want to personally thank you for reacquainting yourself with the family business, Isabella. You made this American girl happy.
Who knew?
Right.
Yes.
Well, tell us, how did you get involved? How did it come about where you have mixed art? Because I'm looking at this box of chocolates, I can't take my eyes off of it. But you can see there's art built in with taste, and how did that come about?
I was always a very creative kid, but I never really had an opportunity to let this out somewhere. I never knew how to let it out. And when it came to chocolate making, I loved the fact that you could put something on a chocolate that was going to be absolutely mine. So I started taking classes with professional chocolatiers and pastry chefs to learn a little bit more about the art of making chocolate, because there is an art behind it, as you see. And I really got involved in this. I day and night I would put my mind down and read books and try to learn how to do this. And it just happened over many, many years that the chocolates ended up looking like pieces of jewelry. So it was basically a personal, this vision that I had in my mind and wanted to learn and accomplish that eventually.
Well, how happy is the family now, though, that you've done this?
They are, I had to say this, but they're both. I mean, they don't really know how they're feeling because I too live 6,000 miles away.
Right.
And I just had a baby 6 months ago.
Oh,
Wow.
my gosh.
So they are a little devastated because now there's no way that I'm going to ever move back home.
Oh, yeah.
And at the same time, they're very thrilled because I'm keeping
Right.
the family tradition alive over here. And like I said, this business, it wasn't something that I sat down and I wrote a business plan and I'm going to do this. It just happened as I went along with it. So they are proud, for sure, but also a little heartbroken over it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
bittersweet.
Yeah,
Like 70 or 60% cocoa, right?
That's right.
Just a little bittersweet.
Yes.
Well, when I do presentations around the country and people come to me for consulting, what kind of business can I go into? I say your biggest asset, your background, your heritage.
Right.
And go into that first before you come up with your own scheme of business.
Right.
Because if you have that hidden talent, chances are you can make it go.
Yeah.
Right.
What I like most about my own story is that it came so, I don't know if this is the right word, English is still not my first language, but it came so organically, basically. It wasn't like, like you said, there's a family background and you don't even know that you're passionate about it until you are, 30 years old. All of a sudden it comes out. That's crazy. A lot of people are just forced and, to do what they're doing and they're unhappy. They wake up every morning and go to a job that's really not fulfilling. So it's something truly special to have something, it feels like a hobby. It doesn't feel like a job what I'm doing. It's great.
Right. They say, the old saying is, do what you love and you'll never work, a day in your life.
Yeah.
Absolutely
True.
great.
True. You're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business here on KFSD AM 1450 and financialnewsandtalk.com. I'm your host, Barry Waxler, here with my co-hosts Andrea Kay and Urban Miaris, and our esteemed guest, Isabella Knack from Dahlman Fine Chocolates.
And so now you've got another generation, I guess, since you just had a baby that's now going to, when she, or is it he?
It's a girl.
It's a girl. So, you're going to be able to relate, I'm sure, down the road if she says, well, Mom, I don't think I want to get into the chocolate business, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because your story is kind of very similar to every other American story. When you're telling me that it was the family business, you really didn't want to get. I know so many friends of mine that had that same experience, and then they decided in their 20s they didn't want to be in the family business, but so they took some break from it, and then they got back into it and fell in love with it again.
In my case, because of the fact that I got an education, they never said you have to take over the business. My brother actually is the pastry chef. He got the education. He trained as a pastry chef. He finished it. He went down this route, but now the story twisted because he hated it just as much as I did, and he decided one day behind my parents' back to just go back to school and become a graphic designer, and he is now the most successful one in our family. He has his own company too. He's a graphic designer. He's the one that makes all the packaging, the presentation for us.
That's great.
He works with Red Bull, with breweries. I mean, he's really, really successful, and he's doing an amazing job for us too. So that's why I said, who knew? I remember a professor in college that said, would you take over the business of your parents? And I said, absolutely no chance. And she said to me, never say never.
Right.
And I'm like, she's crazy. And look today, I am absolutely in my parents' footsteps, and my brother is just totally went a different route,
Yeah, but you're also in the footsteps of so many Americans, who had a dream to own their own company and to start up a business and make it successful. And, anything in the retail as well as the food industry is very difficult to make a go of, and you've done it. What do you think the secret is to your success?
I feel like a lot of it is luck, to be honest. Belief, and dedication. You have to be dedicated to what you do, and there's many holes, whatever the word is, in the ground that you're gonna step in and you're gonna fall, but you have to just get yourself up again and stay motivated and try all over again. I mean, it still is like that. It's not an easy route, but it's getting, the light is closer and closer.
Yeah, well, it's obvious you put a lot of love into your work. I can just see it when I look at it. So that's awesome. Tell us a little bit about what makes Dahlman Fine Chocolates different than the normal chocolate store, the normal candy store that you'll see out there.
Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, the presentation, like we talked about, the chocolates every single piece has an artistic twist on it. Every single piece that you see is still handmade. We don't have any machinery in our kitchen. So we are 5 girls in our kitchen that just hand paint every single piece.
Wow.
And then the ingredients that we use are, no preservatives, no artificial flavors. But however, I have to say that, every company does that right now too. The one thing that extinguishes us too from other businesses like ours is the story behind us. I am the 3rd generation, and my grandfather has created something that I'm taking over. So I believe this is special to people. They really can connect with that emotional aspect of this company being around already that long.
Yeah, it makes you almost feel like you're a part of it, to eat the chocolates and you feel like, oh, I'm getting to experience this family story. How do you choose the flavors? I mean, the mix that you've got in the traditional collection is so just delicious and fabulous. some traditional flavors, but then some, a little bit, getting into the modern. There's a modern twist to everything.
Right.
How do you decide on all the flavors and the combinations of flavors?
So when it comes to flavors, it's usually something where I all of a sudden have an epiphany almost. You walk, for example, into a store that Bath and Body Works, and you see these soaps with crazy combinations, where I think, this could be an interesting chocolate. Or, obviously I look at competition and see what goes well, what's the trend right now. I read a lot of articles about food and food trends that are coming up to make sure that I stay, active in that and create something that's a little bit different than everybody else.
Yeah. Tomorrow being Valentine's Day, what do you recommend for a loved one tomorrow for Valentine's Day from your collections?
We have some adorable collections for Valentine's Day. We obviously have the boxed chocolates that are filled with chocolate hearts with flavors like cardamom and blood orange and passion fruit, some sexy flavors, some romantic flavors, rose water caramel. We have a little edible shell that's filled with 4 chocolate hearts, which is a really cute gift, very romantic. We have had guys that come in and propose to their girlfriends. They open up that shell and then the ring is in there.
Oh, good idea. Y'all fellas listening, listen up.
Right, and then one more special thing that we have in our Dallman store, we have a chocolate tasting tomorrow at 6:30. We are having a chocolate and wine pairing.
Wow.
6:30. It's also a really fun event that people can come and...
I see somebody making a note
I
down
am.
there.
I'll see you there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're starting to run short on time. We're getting ready for a break. So why don't we tell everybody how they find you, both your stores and on the web and what have you?
Okay, so our website is www.dallmanconfections.com. Very important, it's 2 L's and 2 N's in a Dallman, dallmanconfections.com. Our stores are located up in Del Mar at the Flower Hill Promenade off Via de la Valle. That's the exit you take. And then the second store is right in Seaport Village, the new police headquarters on Harbor Drive.
Okay, great. And if somebody wants to call and get more information over the phone, since that's an option, how would they do that?
Probably call the store, which is, I don't even know the phone number by heart. Let's see, 858-720-1933. That's the Del Mar location.
Okay, great.
Well, thanks so much for coming
Great.
in.
This is great. And I will close it out by telling our listeners that if you want to have chocolates that taste good and you want to have a presentation that impresses, well, come to Dahlman Fine Chocolates. This is wonderful. Isabella, thank you so much for being with us.
What a great story.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
You're listening to Close Up on San Diego Business, where we get up close and personal with homegrown San Diego businesses and the people that are working to make a difference in their community. This is financialnewsandtalk.com. I'm your host, Barry Waxler. We'll be right back after the break with more homegrown business Close Up and Rory Moore.